Hey everybody, it's Zarkator, and today we are going over a little bit of minutia in Warframe once again. So the other day, after the big old Dante nerfs in the last patch, after the Deep Archimedia came out in Warframe, DE has released this statement. Link to it down in the description. One line that is in the statement is we have decided we will revisit older line of sight checks to use this improved version in a future update. So, okay, so what does that mean? What is line of sight in Warframe? Line of sight, as it is right now, the old version of line of sight, is a system by which the game checks where an enemy is in reference to you / your abilities being cast. Now, I am going to, let me unequip my Sentinel here. Get these guys back in position. Right now, we have Mirage. Mirage's 4 is a line of sight ability, meaning any enemy that can see where Mirage's ball is, the 4, any enemy that is within line of sight of it will be hit by it. So right now, all these enemies are right in front of me. This ball is going to hit them. That's line of sight. You can literally see the line of sight is that red line coming from the ball to their chests or their middles. And if the ball gets too far away or behind something, as you can see, some of these enemies are not getting hit by it as it passes over, you know, some geometry and stuff like that. If I were to throw it like over in this corner, for example, right now it's hitting all of them. It's going to go over this balcony. It is no longer within line of sight of these enemies. These enemies are not getting hit by it because they're not in line of sight. So in that statement, where DE is changing line of sight, is they are going to add more checks to it. So first of all, the first thing it says is, if an enemy is within 5 meters of the line of sight, they just are automatically going to be hit by something. So within 5 meters, Mirage's 4 will always hit this enemy no matter what. In addition, instead of just this one red line coming out of it and into their center, they are adding a check for the top of the enemy and the feet of the enemy. So I don't think visually it'll change for Mirage's Prism specifically, but for all line of sight checks like this, enemies will be able to get hit by line of sight if, for example, I can't see this enemy's chest right now, but I can see this enemy's head. So it would hit, a line of sight check would hit from right here. That's what they are changing. Now, one thing I want to prove is that while there's the AoE line of sight, like Mirage's 4 Prism, there's other types of line of sight. Let's, for example, go to Atlas. So Atlas's 1 is line of sight. So I have to be seeing the middle of the enemy in order for my punch to track to the target when I press 1. For example, if I'm behind this thing and I can't see the enemy's chest, but I can see her head. Oh, it does work through this pipe. Some things work, some things don't. It's kind of finicky. Let's see right here. Yeah, that works. Right here. Ah, there we go. See, I can't hit this back enemy from through this pipe. With the new line of sight checks, I would be able to aim at her head and track from here. That is what they are changing. So specifically, it says we will revisit older line of sight checks to use that improved version in a future update. That does not specifically name all line of sight checks. It doesn't say specifically every single thing that they are changing by any means, but we can all agree that, as I've just proven, Atlas's 1, other than its range, is just line of sight. Yes? Yes. Okay. Let's go to another example. Saren, who I had equipped at the beginning of this video. Saren's 1 spores, to cast it on an enemy, you guessed it, is line of sight. So from there, obviously, I saw the enemy's middle. I can cast Spore and then get it on all the enemies. Let's reset real quick. Now, if we do that same thing I just did with Atlas, where we take this enemy and like aim it from back here, I can see the head, but I can't see the torso. It does work through this pipe, but we can find another example. Just this simulacrum room isn't the best place to show all this stuff off, but you obviously get my my point, my meaning here. Let's see from like right here. I guess I'm within enough range. Yeah, so Saren's line of sight is pretty soft. It already works pretty well. But there definitely are some examples. Let me see if I can, from up on this balcony, see if I can like hit this. Actually, from over on this dude's arm, maybe. So I'm aiming right at the enemy. Invalid target. I can definitely see the head. There we go. Yeah. So Saren's one is pretty soft line of sight. You can generally get it through stuff like so. It's mostly based on the Warframe's model. So unclear if they're changing stuff like this, but undeniably this ability is line of sight. Anyway, there definitely are some times in mission where it really feels like you're looking directly at an enemy, but your one won't cast on them. That's basically what they are going to be looking at. Now, the only reason I'm making this video is just because some people have made it clear to me that they really don't know what line of sight is, or that stuff like Saren's 1 and Atlas's 1 are line of sight. Anyway, my point is, people are scared that because they are going back and looking at these line of sight things, that they are going to conversely or additionally like do stuff like nerf Saren, right? DE last year made sort of a throwaway statement where I guess some dev said, if we ever have to look at Saren again, she's definitely getting a nerf or something. So people are scared that this line of sight business is going to cause further nerfs to more really good Warframes. I can definitely see that, but whether or not DE does that, obviously I have no control over. I'm not telling DE to do that. I'm not asking them to do that. I'm not asking them to look at Saren or anything. I'm just saying that with this statement that is posted right now, link in the description, it implies that it is highly likely that they're going to add this improved line of sight to things such as Saren's 1. That doesn't mean they're necessarily looking over the entire Warframe and they're gonna nerf her. It's fucking possible, I guess, but that's not part of my argument at all. I'm not making an argument. I'm just saying that this is what DES said, and it is possible that that target line of sight, like Spores and like Atlas's 1 and stuff like that, it is possible that that is included when they say they're adding this line of sight improvement to abilities. The impetus is Dante's 4 specifically. So obviously we know like Mirage's 4 is probably one of these things that they're changing, because this is quite similar to how Dante's 4 works, where the ability just has to be in line of sight from the enemy. So like, let's go to Dante. So in the update the other day, they nerfed the shit out of Dante's 4 and it sucked. But today they improved it so that it has this new line of sight ability. So what it was like in the update like yesterday before they hotfixed this to be better was from here, like behind this pipe, you couldn't cast his 4. Like it wouldn't hit any of these enemies. They changed it so I can see the enemy's heads, so generally it will hit them. Like this just hit them, right? It didn't do much damage because my 3 wasn't, it ran out. But yeah, there you go. I can roar it up and actually kill these enemies real quick. There we go. Most of them. But so, like I'm saying, the impetus for this change was Dante's 4, which they have improved in this way. So other examples, obviously, would be AoE things, such as Mirage's 4, Zaku's 2, Zaku's 2, Garuda's 1, and her 2, you know, Baruch's 2, Styanax's 1, the suck on it, you know, stuff like this. Korra's 1, Korra's 4, Sevagoth's, his Shadows 2, the dash that locks in on an enemy might. There's plenty of examples all throughout, and I'm just saying it's unclear if they're just looking at the big AoE ones like Mirage, or if they're going to include all the smaller ones like Oberon's Smite, like Nidus's 2, fucking all kinds of stuff. Like Protea's 2, unclear. I'm just, like, literally the only thing that I said that people have a problem with, some people, is that Saren's 1 is line of sight in this way when you cast it on an enemy. That's all I'm implying, is that when they say they're revisiting old line of sight, Saren's 1 might be included. It might also not be included. That's all. Anyway, thank you for watching. I am Zarkator, and I will see you out on the Star Chart, Tenno.